What's up guys, Josh Olfert here back with another video today, and we're going through one of my favorite exercises of all time. I've been doing this forever and I actually think it's really helped me, so let's hop into that. Time to think like an investor. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be pricing out my dream life. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at, over the next 5 to 10 years, what are the biggest goals I can conceptualize, the things that get me super excited to get out of bed and live and work and do all that sort of thing. And we're gonna price out each of those things. How much will it cost and how much money am I gonna have to make to achieve that? But first, before we get into that, I just wanted to say, guys, I think today we hit 600 subscribers. And when we first started doing this, it's like, oh, crazy, I'm just broadcasting my voice out into the middle of nowhere. But now we have a little group, we have a little tribe. So I wanna thank you so much for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed yet and you watch these frequently, please, at that point, you're just like me. Forever. I watched YouTube and I watched the same channels every day and I never hit subscribe. So please don't be like me and just hit that subscribe button and leave us a like if you wanna see more videos just like this one. But anyways, let's hop into the exercise. I wanna bring you guys through a thing that I've been doing since I was 15 years old. And I think it's been very productive for me. And the reason is that a lot of the times we go through life and we think about all the things that we could have and all the cool things we see other people have and the vacations and all this fun stuff that excites us. And we never really go into the work to determine, okay, what is it that I have to do to see some of those things? Why wouldn't you dedicate a portion of your life, if you're gonna be productive and you're gonna work every day, why not spend some time thinking through what is it that I need to do to actually get to the things in life that excite me? If I'm working 8 hours a day, I may as well put some thought into where this ultimately gets me. But anyways, I wanna bring you through first, what are the biggest things that excite me and what are some of the stories behind the things that motivate me? Because at the end of the day, there's this whole taboo like,
oh, you shouldn't be interested in things and material things.
I'm gonna admit it, I actually think things are pretty sweet. I love things. At the end of the day, I'm very fascinated by really cool things, and I'm gonna show you exactly what things I find fascinating and how much those might cost. So over the next 5 to 10 years, what are the biggest things that really excite me? Well, I think we all start with the house, right? That's where we spend a ton of our time, it's where we sleep, it's where we cook, it's where we host people. I think that having a really cool place to live and host my friends and be in a space that I love waking up to, you walk up to your building or up to your house and you think, you know what, I'm happy about this, I'm proud of where I live. So I think first things first, you gotta look at the house, right? And I think that if I'm looking 5, 10 years out, I'm 29, 35, somewhere in between that range, right? And for me, one of the things I love, honestly, is the convenience of living downtown and living in an apartment. I think that's the greatest thing ever because I don't have to worry about upkeep and maintenance and all these things, and I just pay one monthly fee and everything's taken care of. So I have looked up the most expensive, or one of the most expensive, penthouse apartments in my city. And now you can see it here on my screen. This is actually the building that I live in. And I love it so much that I'd be willing to just live in that same building, but on the very top floor in the best unit possible. So let's price this out. What does it cost me to live in the penthouse? Well, let's look at this for a little bit here, right? So I hit the penthouse button. Wow, okay, so there's 5 different options. I don't want a 1-bedroom, I want a 2-bedroom with more square footage. Maybe a little home office there would be sweet for me to run my business out of. But this one here, the penthouse 4, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, almost 1,600 square feet in the middle of downtown. That's pretty cool. It's only $4,300. I'm not sure where you live or where you're watching from, but I imagine the best penthouse in your downtown is a lot more than $4,300. So let's add that to the first element of this budget. So we'll talk about the penthouse or the place we're gonna live in. That is going to be, what did I say, $4,300 a month? And what I already know about that actually is I live there, all the utilities and everything are already included. So that's gonna be a major expense, right? We're starting off the hop, I'm gonna need $4,300 a month just for my living space, okay? But it's pretty cool. You can see the pictures here. It's a beautiful place to live. It's more than what I need. I'm super happy about it. So I'm not the kind of guy that's obsessed with the house I live in. I think it's really nice to have something great, but I'd rather spend a lot of money in other areas, which we're about to see. And I know the next thing we're gonna wanna talk about is the cars, because I am a car guy. I absolutely love cars. I think really fast cars are the coolest thing ever. I'm super motivated and inspired by them. And I know what you're thinking. Not another young guy on YouTube who's obsessed with Lamborghinis. Well, guess what? Bang. We're obsessed with Lamborghinis, and we are going to get a Lamborghini. That is for sure in the budget. I cannot skip that. So I've already done and pre-shopped around a little bit, and I saw this one right here. This is the one. A 2017 Lamborghini Huracan Spider, and what that means is it has no roof. It's a convertible, and I think that's sweet because I'm 6'4". I don't fit in the small ones. It's just too hard to fit in there. So I need the one with the roof off, and guess what? It's got 25,000 kilometers. Someone's already paid the depreciation for me, and I can get this for 230,000 bucks. That's not insane. I mean, it is insane. It is insane to spend $230,000 on a car. I can't even get around that, but we have to add that to the budget. So how do we do that? Do we just drop $230,000 poof into the budget? No, we're gonna see what it would cost me to finance this, because tangent, side note, if you buy a car that's really expensive like this, that might even hold its value to some degree, and you finance it, and then you sell it later for a little bit less, yeah, you might have some depreciation, but then you're really not spending $230,000. All you're really paying is the interest on the loan and the taxes, if that kind of makes sense. Of course, insurance and maintenance. But if you buy it and sell it a couple years later, you're not gonna take that big of a hit. It's not like this is a $230,000 outlay of cash. It's really just the interest. That's the big cost when you're owning a car like this. I'm gonna take you guys through what it might cost to afford a car like this. So let's assume we can't get the dealership down at all. We're gonna pay, the $229,000 it costs, and we're gonna try to figure out what the monthly payment would be. So I'm gonna say the future value, right? We wanna pay that down to 0. That's how a financial calculator works. The annual rate of interest on a car like this, I'm gonna say probably 4.99%. I was in the car business for a while. If you guys want to know more about the car business and how to beat the dealership, I actually have a video on that, so I'm gonna beat the dealership here. I'm gonna pay 4.99. I can't get around that. But we're gonna finance this for, what do we say? Probably 6 years, maybe even let's go 5 years. And we're gonna put 60 months into there. What is our payment? Wow. That's a lot of money. Okay, so this car is gonna cost $4,300 per month. Okay, well, that's fine. We said we're living the dream life. We'll else put it in here. Lamborghini is going to cost me what did I say? $4,800 a month. It's gonna cost me $4,300 a month. Okay, that's just as much as my penthouse, by the way. That's crazy that they're equal. But the thing is, I live in a city where there is a ton of snow in the winter, and I can't drive that thing all year round, so I'm gonna need some sort of SUV or winter car. And what better winter car, and what more attractive winter car is there than a 2019 Land Rover, which I shopped for. Okay, I'm not buying brand new. We're gonna be a little smart here. And we're also gonna add a Land Rover for about 84,000 bucks. So I'm gonna go back to my calculator, and let's see how much it would cost to add the Land Rover at $84,000. We're gonna use all the same financing terms. The payment comes out to $1,600. So then we also have the Land Rover. But this is pretty sweet. I mean, my life's looking pretty sick at this point. I've got a penthouse, there's a Lamborghini and a Land Rover down there. So we've got the big ticket items taken care of, right? We've got the house taken care of, we've got the cars taken care of. And this is pretty exciting. I'm just me talking about this. It's getting me really excited. Like, I literally did this for fun. Like, in my spare time, I would do this because I thought it was just so fun to plan. But the next thing that comes to mind for me is travel, okay? So if I've got a sweet house and cool cars and I can travel, let's say 4 times a year, every 3 months I'm going somewhere new, that's super exciting. So the way I thought about this was, okay, I don't need to go to Europe and Australia and Fiji every 3 months. I'm okay being a little modest, stay in North America for 2 trips of the year, and then maybe 2 trips we go crazy, we do something big. So let's look at just, a domestic trip, a beautiful city where I can maybe look at going to snowboard. I can look at, going to surf, whatever it might be. Vancouver. Vancouver's a beautiful city. It's one of the best places in the world to live. And I just went to Expedia. How much does it cost to get a 4 or 5 star vacation package in Vancouver? Well, it's gonna cost me about $1,450, okay? $1,450 per person. And if I have any brains, I'm also gonna incorporate some budget for Alana. And if you don't know who Alana is, that's my girlfriend. You've seen her in past videos. She's gonna wanna come along, I know that. So we're gonna budget as a 2-person vacation here. I'm doing 2 trips that are within North America, 2 trips at $1,400 a piece, but they're $2,800 a person. So 2,800 times 2 is equal to 5,600. So we have, we'll call it local travel, because this is just easier for me to break it up this way. And we'll call that, $5,800 per year. So what is that over on a monthly basis? If we divide that by 12, we'll call it $500 per month in travel. locally. And then we're gonna do big travel. That's the next one, right? And one of the places I've always thought about going that really excited me, I'm not sure why, for some reason it did, was the idea of going to Switzerland. I just think it's a pretty sweet place. I don't know why, something about that country fascinates me. The scenic, the nature of it, it's just beautiful, right? And it's also known as a very important country in the financial system in the world. So that's something that fascinates me. This one's a little more expensive though. This one is $2,400 per person. So if we do the math again, $2,400 a person, probably doing that for 2 people, and we're gonna do that twice a year. A trip of that nature, a trip of that cost, and that brings us to $9,600. Divide that by 12 months, and we're adding another $800 a month to the travel budget. So this is starting to rack up pretty quickly, but hey, my life's sick, so who cares? Well, what's next? I think for me, one of the things that I'd love to do, if I'm honest, if I could do it all the time, would be to golf. I love the game of golf. It's become a bit of an obsession for me, but it's really not that expensive. I think that annually, you know, I would have a golf membership at a really, really nice course, and that might cost me $4,000 a year. I'm gonna say that's, you know, around $300 per month, and maybe even do a golf trip where a couple times a year I go play Augusta National, which is impossible to play actually. You need to have someone sponsor you to play it. You need to know somebody there, but maybe a course, a beautiful course like Cabot Links. Look at this. Imagine going to just walk and see the nature. This is stunning. You're on the cliffs, you're playing golf. They've got restaurants and a winery and all this kind of stuff. And the green fee's only $300. You layer in accommodations, you layer in flights. We're probably looking at another $1,500 on golf. So over the course of the year, you know, that might equate to about $100 a month. I'm being very approximate here, as you can tell, but we're gonna put $400 a month is my golf budget. So yeah, I'm not mad about any of this, okay? This is really exciting. I look at this stuff and I imagine the kind of life that this would bring me, and I'm like, oh, that's really exciting. What else though? Well, you know what? I have a couple friends who love to eat expensive food, and there's these things called Michelin star restaurants, and for me, for the most part, they were unheard of. It's not something I really knew a ton about, but my friends go so often that they just call it Mich. Like, when's the last time you had Mich? They say the word Mich to refer to Michelin star restaurants, and they're essentially just the best restaurants in the world. And I don't know any of them, but I do know how to Google them. And I was able to Google, what does it cost to eat at a Michelin star restaurant? Because that would be cool to do 4 times a year. Who doesn't love food, right? If I can travel and have cool cars and eat great food, I mean, this is unreal. What I'm finding is that a Michelin star restaurant is usually gonna cost around $300 to $400. And what I do know from my friends is it's not the meal that kills you, it's the 10 bottles of wine. And if you get 10 bottles of wine, you're gonna be $10,000 to $20,000 in the hole. So I'm gonna skip the wine and we're just gonna go for dinner and drink water like plebs, but that's fine. So if we incorporate some dining, you know, into the budget, we'll say a couple times a year we're gonna go to a Michelin star restaurant. How much would that cost us? Well, let's say on average we're looking at $300 a meal. We're gonna go for 2 people, obviously, and we're gonna do that 4 times a year. $2,400 in dining. Now, in addition to that, I'm gonna be dining when I'm at home, so maybe we just double this and, you know, call it $400 a month in dining. So I know what you might be thinking by now. This is kind of insane, and I was talking about how this is something that I wanted to achieve within the next 5 to 10 years, which might seem outrageous, but here's something funny that I found is that I started doing this when I was 15 or 16, and now at 25, I'm in the position where, you know, the dreams were a lot smaller back then, and I've already achieved the number that I used to want to have, which is kind of cool. But anyways, you know, if my grandparents or if my parents knew this was the kind of thing that I was trying to spend, if they knew what I was spending on stupid stuff like cars that depreciate and, you know, golf, they probably think that's pretty crazy. But hey, these are the things that excite me. I encourage you to do this, by the way, because everybody has different things that excite them. But now what I want to do is get into what this actually requires me to earn, right? Because there's going to be taxes involved, there's going to be all sorts of other things involved. What is it that we're actually going to have to earn to get this? So one thing I forgot to do is actually add living expenses in. So now I put living expenses, you know, miscellaneous things, paying your insurance, paying your gas, getting the groceries, all those sorts of things. We're going to throw all those miscellaneous expenses under $2,500 a month. So now if we total all these things up, it's going to cost me, let's get my pencil ready. It's going to cost me $14,800. And like any person should be doing, in my opinion, I'm also going to add something that's a percentage on top of all this. A percentage for investing every single month and being charitable, tithing, giving money away every single month. So I suggest, or for me at least, I wanna do 10% to giving, to either giving away to charity or whatever cause excites me, and also 10 to 15% to investing in the future so I can build up an investment portfolio and that sort of thing. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say, okay, we're also gonna save some money and we're also going to give some money. And that's gonna multiply this by 25%. I think we should multiply by 25%. And what that is ultimately going to do is we're gonna have to come up with $18,500 per month net. That's a lot of money, but what does that actually mean? You know, that's net, right? So what do we have to make gross? What do we actually have to earn? Because there's gonna be taxes. What do we have to earn for our net income to be $18,500 per month? $18,500 a month is equal to $222,000 per year. That's what we have to have net. So luckily, what I've already done in advance is I've gone through and figured out what do we need to earn. And I've gone to a tax calculator and I've punched in $320,000 per year if we have an $80,000 deduction. And you might be wondering, why is there an $80,000 deduction? Well, the great thing is any money I invest and any money I give away is actually gonna be considered a tax deduction, right? So I'm gonna make $320,000. I'm gonna have $80,000 of deductions, which means my taxable income is gonna be reduced. And at the end of the day, as you can see over here, my after-tax income is gonna be $226,000, a little bit higher than what I needed. So at the end of the day, if we wanna see what is it that my dream life costs, it's going to cost me $320,000 per year. So that might seem like an insane amount of money, but what this did for me as a young person is it got me thinking, right? It got me thinking, okay, how does somebody make $100,000 or $200,000? You know, you can go start looking at jobs or job descriptions and what different things pay, or you could think to yourself, okay, $360,000 a year, let's use that as a number. What does that mean? Well, that means I have to make $30,000 a month. And what if I'm able to sell a $1,000 a month product to 30 people or a $100 a month product to 300 people? And you start thinking through, what might I have to do, whether it's some entrepreneurial venture or some business that can pay me? And it gets you thinking, right? Like maybe this isn't as insane as you think. And maybe if you're given 10 or 20 or 30 years of your career to be productive, you should put a little more thought into where it is that you could go. This is an exercise that really inspired me. I hope it can inspire you. And at the end of the day, guys, the biggest thing that I see, and the reason I don't look at this from a jealous, envious perspective, I wish I had $320,000, is because I know people out there who make that much money and wish they were in my position, which is making less money, but being in a place where I control my time and I have freedom. And I think that the ultimate place you'd wanna be is having enough money to do the things you want, but also in a way where you're doing it by doing work that you actually want to do and having control of your schedule. So anyways, guys, that's my thoughts for today. I highly encourage you to go and plot out your dream life. What is it that it's gonna cost you to have those things that you want that makes you excited to get up in the morning? So anyways, if you guys enjoy videos like this, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on post notifications for more videos just like this one every single week. Until next time.